am going to teach you today, or in this video, how to use contrast filters. Contrast filters are great because they can help try to make a gray photo have more of a value scale. It's not a fix-all band-aid for every photo, but it could help in some of your guys' pictures. So the paper we use is called variable contrast paper, and it allows us to use variable contrast filters. The filters are numbered 0 through 5 with half stops in between. We are not going to use anything below a 3. Okay, below a 3 would be taking away contrast, and unless and it's very rare that you would need to take away contrast out of a photo. We're usually trying to add it in. So there's different types of enlargers, which depend on different types of filters that you're going to use. So some of the enlargers, like all these M670 VCs, if you turn on the light, wow, somebody was really out of focus there. And you, on the side here, there's a little switch you can flip, and you can see now the light is magenta. This is the contrast filter. And so when I say you're going to make a test strip with filter number 3, you would just dial in the 3. There's a 3.5, a 4, a 4.5, and a 5. And if you look at this 5, it makes it really, really bright pink. This adds the most contrast. And then 3 would just be a very light contrast. If you go the opposite direction, the light turns yellow, which takes away contrast. So it's really this magenta light that adds in contrast. So after you're done using the contrast filter on these machines, you would just flip up to turn it off. Some of the enlargers, like this Bessler 23C2, to put the contrast, oh, somebody left their negative in there, and it's out of focus. Maybe it's just blurry. Anyway, to put the contrast filter in here, there's this little door up here. You would take one of these multi-grade contrast filters out of the box, choose the number that you want. Oh, this one's missing some. Okay, so this is a 4.5. Actually, this is 5 on it, so I'm just going to put that in there. And then when I turn the enlarger on, you can see that the contrast filter, you would never open this up in the dark room without it being off, because you could expose everybody's paper and then everybody will hate you. Okay, but you can see that when it's in there, you have your contrast filter on your negative here. So I'm going to take that out. It's really important that you guys make sure you put the contrast filters away. Like this box of filters was $29. This thing of filters that I'm going to show you how to use these ones, this is about $70 for this set. All right, so you would use these filters on these enlargers that have this little tray underneath the lens. So for example, the number filter is just on the little thing, and you just pop it in, and that's a number 5. And then there's a 4.5, 4, 3.5, 3. Once you're done using the filter, you need to return it to the case, which will be over there by the guillotine. All right, I'm just checking to make sure there's no other types of filters. Oh, there's this kind right here. You can see there's 3 different colors of filters you can use. So you would turn it on, and here on the side next to these types of enlargers, there's a filter number with the setting. So if I tell you to put a number 3 in, you would dial 40 on the magenta scale and turn it on, and then you can see it's pink. So then a 3.5 would be 65, a 4 would be 100, a 4.5 would be 150, and then a 5 would be all the way up at 200. So you can see the filters get progressively more pink. You'll never use the yellow or the cyan, so don't even mess with those. I'm going to turn this back off so it doesn't mess up the next person who's using this enlarger. So that enlarger, and this one are the same. And then we have these Bessler Dichro 67S2s. So on these ones, it's the same thing. Just the dials look a little different. To turn the filter on, it's this knob right here. So up is on, down is off. But you can see like the pink light gets progressively darker. So that's kind of nice, it's built in. And then the guide is right here on the side for you guys to be able to change it. Okay, so these filters are going to live right here next to the guillotine. All right, I am going to show you how to cut your paper for this project. You are going to get a 5x7. I'm going to hand it to you, and you're going to cut it into 1-inch increments. So you would have, sorry, it's not a 5x7. It's a 5x8. I'm going to give you a 5x8. And you're going to take it and you're going to line it up at the 7. You're going to line it up at the 6, the 5, the 4, the 3, the 2, very carefully so your fingers are far away from that blade, the 1. All right, on the back of each strip, so there's the shiny side and the non-shiny side. On the back of each strip, you're going to write the following: no filter, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5. And you're gonna write your initial on the back of each one. That way you know which ones are yours when you're taking them out of the wash or the fix, so you don't steal somebody's. Notice you're gonna have 2 extra because it was a 5x8. We cut 1-inch segments. You have 2 extra in case you need them. You can find a Sharpie to do your labeling here, or in the Sharpie drawer that's by like the scissors and tape and everything. You're gonna take your test strips, put them in your black bag, and you're going to go over to your enlarger. Okay, at my enlarger, I have already set up my photo that I'm enlarging. So I'm going to make sure it's eyeball focused, use the grain focuser to make sure I can see the grains. I'm gonna make sure that my aperture is set at 8, and then I'm gonna turn my light off. All right, I'm going to take my first test strip that says no filter. I'm gonna put the others back in my black bag. I'm gonna take my no filter and I'm gonna put it at the far left of my picture. And then I'm gonna take my cardboard. Where'd my cardboard go? Oh, thank you, assistant. And I'm actually gonna do 3-second increments. So I'm gonna turn this to 3, make sure it's on time. 3, move it down, do 3 again, move this down, do 3 again, down, do 3 again, move down, all the way off, and then do 3 again. So that was 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. All right. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my filter strip that says 3. I'm going to put it right next to the no filter one, as close as I can. I'm going to take the no filter one out. I'm going to put it back in my bag. And then I'm going to do the process again. Oh wait, first I have to turn my filter on. So I'm going to turn it on, and then I'm going to dial in for 3, it's 40 magenta. And now I'm gonna do my filter, my test strip. 3. Oops. 6. 9. 12. 15. All right, I'm going to take my 3.5 filter. 3.5. I'm going to put it right next to my 3. And then I'm going to take my 3 filter out. He's back in my bag. I'm going to dial up to 3.5, which is 65 magenta. And I'm going to do it again. Okay, now I'm going to grab, I'm done with the 3.5, so I'm going to grab the one that says 4. Whoops. I'm going to put it next to the 3.5. I'm going to take out the 3.5. So I'm just doing that so I can like have a gradation across the picture, but you can put the test strip in the same spot if you want to. When you get to the number 4 filter, it's really important that so I'm going to change it to 4, so it's 100. Remember, the filter gets progressively darker. So the darker it gets, the more light you're going to want to add. So when you get to the 4 filter, instead of doing 3-second increments, you're going to bump it up to 5. Because the light is darker and it's going to take longer. And if you're using an enlarger that doesn't have a dial, oh, I lost my count. Oops. This one might have one more section of 5. That's okay. If you're using an enlarger that doesn't have a dial, between each filter, you're gonna have to go put it back, grab a new one, and use it. So that way everyone else can use the filters too. I'm almost done here, so I'm gonna grab my 4.5. This is important. Don't leave your little papers next to your enlarger because they're gonna get exposed. You wanna make sure you put them away between each time. Oh, I forgot to change it to 4.5. So make sure you do that. Even though I just said to do it. And then I forgot to do it. Okay. Wow, you can see that light is really pink now. Something I like to do also is expose all of my strips at once instead of exposing a strip, then going to develop it and then coming back. If you do that, you're just taking up the enlarger for a lot longer and then your partner can't use it because you're in the middle of using it. Plus, then you don't lose stuff because it's all together. So you can notice that this is my last one, this is my number 5. I didn't hold my 4.5 in place while I put the 5 in because it's at the end of the picture because we went all the way across. So I'm going to make sure I set this at 200 magenta for that filter 5. Set my timer. take these guys. I'm gonna make sure I have all of them. So 4 and 4.5, 5, 3, no filter. I'm missing my 3.5. Where'd you go? There you are. Okay, now I'm gonna go into the developer. And I'm just gonna go ahead and develop them all at the same time. Uh-oh, stuck together. Try not to stick your fingers in here. All right, I'm gonna finish developing these and I'm gonna show you what they look like when they're all done and in the light. All right, guys, I have developed, stopped, fixed, and washed and dried all of my test strips here. You can see I've taped them into my sketchbook. This is what I want you to do. Tape them into your sketchbook, no filter, the 3, the 3.5, the 4, the 4.5, and the 5, and make sure you label them. All right, you can see, you should be able to see the no filter. One looks pretty gray, and as the filter progresses, it gets increasingly, you can see more contrast in the highlight and the shadow areas, meaning the whites are whiter and the blacks are blacker. There's a bigger contrast in the values of those areas. So what I want you to do is go and print the photo. You're going to go back and print it, and you're going to print it using, you're going to print the whole thing. You're going to decide which filter and which time work the best, and you're going to label it. Oops, I forgot to label it. So I printed this at 4.5, with the filter 4.5, and then the time was 5, 10, 15 seconds. I printed the whole photo, and you're going to put your test strips and your photo into your sketchbook.